decided not to attend after all. Okay, so here's the problem. For 8 years, everybody in the Black Lives Matter movement was suggesting the law enforcement system is biased and that criminal justice reform had to be pursued. And now Donald Trump's going to do that. And you're not going to go meet with him? Because to meet with him would be undermine the cause? How is it undermining the cause? No Democratic House of Representatives. Let's say the Democrats win the election in 2018. Let's say that they win back the House. They probably won't win back the Senate. You think criminal justice reform is going to get done with Nancy Pelosi as the head? Not a shot, because she's going to put a bunch of deal killers in that bill. It's not going to happen. The only way criminal justice reform gets done with Trump as president is right now with a bunch of Republicans in the House and a bunch of Republicans in the Senate and President Trump in the White House. If you want a deal, you need to talk to the guy who's capable of making the deal. It is that simple. But Jay-Z doesn't want the image of a bunch of black people meeting with Trump because it might make Trump seem not as racist to the press.
Also fascinated by your book about, dealing with the chaos in which, as you yourself say, men find themselves in, or it's predominantly aimed at men.
No,
and
it's
I think
not,
that.
but
I'd read an article with you in which you sort of said, well, yes, it probably is mainly men. Why do you think it is that so much of what you say is so very popular with the alt-right?
It isn't. And you don't have any evidence for that at all. More than the evidence that alt-right people watch this show.
Neo-Nazi.
Well, this is absolute nonsense, and I don't appeal primarily to the alt-right. There's no evidence for that at all. It's the proclivity of.
I never said primarily. Looking at the Kathy Newman documentary.
What reaction?
Interview.
There's 10 million people watched that and commented on it.
I'm talking about what I saw, and I'm curious to know what your reaction was to the glee with which the alt-right seized upon.
Every year, over 620,000 inmates, primarily from state prisons, are released after completing their sentences. For many, really, life outside of the prison is a tremendous struggle. I see it. To find a job, to stay off drugs, to avoid old habits that lead them back to a life of crime, back to prison. Unfortunately, more than 1/3 of former federal prison inmates and more than 3/4 of state prisoners will be rearrested again within 5 years. Nobody wins when former prisoners fail to adjust to life outside, or worse, end up back behind bars. We want former inmates to find a path to success so they can support their families and support their communities.